Purim is the most joyful celebration of the year in the Jewish nation.
People dress in all kinds of costumes, gives one another gifts, eat sweet ears of Aman.
In this celebration, we remember how God did His miracle and saved His nation. For this, we will need to look into the Word.
The book of Esther is really fascinating book. So let's talk about the history. In the days of the Persian Empire, the Jewish people found themselves living exile and captivity, scattered from the West Kingdom, stretching from India all the way to Ethiopia, through far from their homeland. They hold tightly in their faith and identity, even under the shadow of a foreign rule. Now, most of us are familiar with the story of Esther, but today we want to reserve the foundations of this incredible narrative and highlight the key moments that reveal God's unseen hand at work. At the heart of this story, Mordecai is a faithful Jew who refused to bow down before anyone, only under God. And his cousin Esther was a young Jewish woman who rose to become a queen of Persia. Through her true identity remained hidden the first, Esther's courage and faith would soon test it in a ways she could never imagine herself. Then Haman, an influential official of the Persian court who was consumed by pride and hardened by the Jewish people, enraged by Mordecai's refusal to bow down before him, Haman deceived the sinister plot of unveiling all the Jewish in the empire, casting lots, or Purim in Hebrew. Haman determined the date of genocide, believing fate was on his side. So the name Purim in Hebrew comes from the word pur. It's when you're flipping the coin. And that was the fate of the Jewish people by just the flipping the coin. But as the story unfolds, we see that the true author of events was not blind faith, but the servant hand of God turning what was meant to be destruction into a victory for his people. And now from that, when Esther's faith was willing to risk everything, it would change the course of history for her people. So, when we see the powerful lesson from this story of a courage, faith, and God's deliverance that take us from a place to a place and from situation to situation. So why do we wear costumes on Purim today? The tradition is dressing up is a reminder that in the story of Esther, God's intervention was hidden. Much like a disguise, though his name is never directly mentioned in the book, but his presence is felt in every twist and every turn in the narrative. By wearing costumes, we recall how God was working behind the scenes, unseen but unmistakable, powerful. It is also celebration of the reversal of fortunes and how was it meant for evil was turned to good. Through history, there have been many Hamans, tyrants and enemies who have tried to destroy the Jewish people. Yet, every time, God has stood up and intervened. From ancient Persia to the modern times, the survival of the Jewish people is a testament to God's faithfulness and protection. But this isn't just about the past. It's a powerful reminder for us today that God, who saved the Jewish people in Persia, in the same God today, who, through Jesus, opened the way for all nations to come to Him. In His eyes, everyone is equal. Just as we protected Esther and her people, He stands before you, ready to defend and deliver. One of the most profound lessons from Esther's story is the power of fasting and prayer. When faced in an impossible situation, Esther and the Jewish people stood up with God with all of their hearts, and He responded was a powerful and encouragement for all of us on the same, trusting that God hears and answers when we call Him. And it's important to remember that everything that God promised to the Jewish people, He is faithful and He has always been true to His word, and He will turn to His promises for you as well. And this is incredible. It's a good news of Purim that God is faithful and He is there for you. and the enemy cannot stand against his plans.
The most important commitment of Purim is to be joyful.
We wish you that your heart will be full with God's joy every day.
And remember, your destiny is only in the hands of God.